Hello everyone, hello! Sasarai here with some more Final Fantasy XIV. We are at last in the Crystarium. Now this isn't the last expansion that we're going to be doing. It is, however, my favorite. We are at the start of Shadowbringers, and the first thing we're going to do, pick a new pet. And today we get the Wind-Up Onion Knight. Alright, so if you recall yesterday, the only thing we did was find our way to the first, which is the Crystarium, among other areas. We met a dude who looked suspiciously like the first dude you run into in the game, if you recall, this dude right here. We ran into a guy that looked just like him. Exciting stuff. Anyway, he pointed us towards the Crystarium, and when we got there, we were stopped by the captain of the guard, and then who told us that Limsa Lominsa does not exist in this world, which was interesting. And then we were attacked by a creature called a Sin Eater, who apparently had killed the dude the merchant who guided us there. So, you know, great note to start on, I guess. Anyway, we met the Crystal Exarch, the leader of the Crystarium, and the one who drew us to this world. And he bid us to go around and meet all the people in the Crystarium, which is what we're going to start doing now. We're going to go meet the leaders of the various areas of the Crystarium. So to start with, we're going to go to the Crystalline Mean. Oh, I also ran around and grabbed all the Ethernet shards to make this a little faster. We got a bit of a sore throat coming on today, guys, so bear with me. So this is Catless. She's the leader of like the crafting and gathering professions here in the town. Rare to see a place so well stocked with goods, isn't it? But not here. I'm gonna guess you're new to our fair city. Well, for what it's worth, you've chosen a fine sanctuary. The Exarch can throw up a barrier if the Sin Eaters come knocking, so it's a damn sight safer in here than it is out there. Safer and more civilized too. Thanks to us in the Mean, we work together to procure materials and resources and craft goods, which makes city life possible. This is the place to visit if you need a coat mended or a kettle forged. And don't go thinking it'll be handed to you on a plate like those Umorian layabouts. Here in the Crystarium, we work for a living. Though I see you're no stranger to honest labor. You don't have that whiff of indolence about you like some folk I've met. Still, I can't quite pin down your profession. Where is it you're from? One of the Exarch's countrymen, you say? I see. Well then, I'll work twice as hard to make you feel welcome. Our city wouldn't even exist if it weren't for him. And any friend of his is a friend of ours. It's really quite incredible when you think about it. They say his grand magic summoned the Crystal Tower into existence. Pulled the entire thing out of thin air. It wasn't long before droves of refugees began congregating around its base, desperate for shelter after losing their homes to the flood. And that's how the Crystarium began, at the Exarch's invitation. Buildings started going up, and with the help of some curious relics brought forth from the tower, the place gradually expanded into the thriving metropolis you see today. The city's stood here for decades now, yet the eldest among us swear the Exarch looks the exact same as he did back then. Yet he is indeed a man of many mysteries, but for all his secrecy, he has never yet let us down. So if he, and you, wish to remain silent about your shared homeland, then the folk here will respect your wish for privacy. I am, however, more than a little curious to see any crafting talent you might be hiding. If you ought to contribute to that, friend, be sure to come and visit once you've had a chance to settle in. Just ask for Catless and I'll find you a niche here in the Crystalline Mean. You can help us keep the cogs of the city greased and turning. Your exchange with Catless has taught you about life in the Crystarium. Biggie, you're doing good? You're just trying to chill, deal with the construction outside? Well, dealing with construction outside is never good, but I hope they finish soon and that you can get the rest and relaxation that you desire. Hey look, it's an Allegan node. That's weird. Alright. Let's go speak with Bragi at Musica Universalis. Alright. I figure we'll do the shop stuff first and knock that out of the way. Here's Bragi. I think he is, so while the Captain of the Guard was our first Viera NPC, this is our first official Hrothgar NPC. New to the city, friend? The spinning head and wide eyes give you away. Welcome, my name is Bragi, and I'm the master of these markets. They gave the district another official title, but I'm not in the habit of using it. Too florid by half. In any case, our merchants stock a range of equipment for humans such as yourself, so finding something in your size shouldn't be a problem. I'm sorry, did you say humans? I'm actually here. Must be a dialect I'm not familiar with. Let's see if we can straighten this out. See those two in front of us? Shorter one is a hume, like you, and the taller one is an elf. And the sturdy individual there is a galgant. Well, it's the one with the horns is a Dron. Then you have the large scaly chaps with long tails and a knack for raising livestock. Those would be the Zin. Which is apparently not the name you know them by. Now I'm curious to know which far-flung region you hail from. Ah, the same as the Exarch, eh? Well, that explains it. You don't get much further flung than that. We've had a few of your lot pass through in the recent years, and despite their obvious learning, they floundered over the simplest things. And not to worry, should you find yourself confused by the local language or customs, I'll be here to answer your questions. Hey, exchange with Bragi has taught you about the peoples of the first. So as you can see, there's the same races in the first and the and the source being the main world of the game. But the first calls the races by something different. Which, you know, would make sense. You're not in the same world. Alright, let's head up to the Cabinet of Curiosity. I'm gonna get some lore bits here, guys. This area here has some of my favorite bits in the game. Also a gigantic, cool-looking library. Alright, hey Morin. Excuse me, miss. Are you recently come to the city, perchance? I'm quite familiar with our civic rules, you see, and, well... What I meant to ask is, have you brought any books with you? A rumpled scroll, even? A scrap of scribbled-on parchment? My apologies, literature is something of an obsession of mine, as well as a profession. Librarian Morin at your service, and this humble collection is known as the Cabinet of Curiosity. As your powers of perception have likely informed you, my colleagues and I are responsible for curating all manner of tomes, documents, and other vehicles for the written word. As horrific as the loss of life and land wrought by the flood unquestionably was, the damage to recorded knowledge was no less catastrophic. We few do all we can to preserve what wisdom survived. But tell me, what brings you to the cabinet today? Looking for any title in particular? Mayhap a spot of academic research? Oh ho, so you've been interested in modern history. Splendid. A thorough review of recent events can often yield novel perspectives, I quite agree. If you would prefer something visual to accompany the account, then I think I have an illustrated history book for children somewhere. Just a moment and I'll fetch it for you. Kind of weird that he first assumes that we want a child's book, but alright. And here we are. Would you like to pull up a chair? Make yourself more comfortable? On with the lesson then. What's up, guys? A 100 years ago, or near enough not to matter, villains known as the Warriors of Light slew the Shadowkeeper, the Steward of Darkness. In the wake of this tainted deed, light began to pour into the world as if from unseen cracks. It pooled and swelled without cease until the day an enormous blinding wave rose up and swept across our star. We called this calamity the Flood of Light. Everything it touched was leached of life and vigor, leaving naught behind but a luminous wasteland. Yet, just when it seemed that all would be lost, a savior appeared before us. The Oracle of Light, she stood twixt us and the approaching doom, and by her power did she stay the flood. Thus was Norvrant, and Norvrant alone, spared the fate of erasure. Tragedy would, however, arrive in another form. From the blasted emptiness descended horrors of strange and terrible aspect to bedevil the few folk who survived. These sin-eaters were light incarnate, and their fulgent presence stole the night from Norvrant's sky. Even now, they circle the remaining bastions of civilization, ever on the hunt for us, ever hungering for our flesh. And thus did the world become what it is. Should you ever wish to hear the tale again, I'd be glad to retell it for you. Or if you'd rather I speak of other matters, that too would be my pleasure. I should be glad of the company. The exchange this morning has taught you about the Flood of Light. His story there brings to mind the Warriors of Darkness from earlier in the game, if you guys recall. They lost their world to, as Ardbert would say, they did everything right, fought off everything in the name of goodness, and still they lost their world. Well, how did you fare? Did my colleagues help you form a clearer picture of this world and its people? Alright. An account of how the XIV summoned the Crystal Tower and the city built by the refugees who sheltered there. An account of how the Warrior Light caused the flood, which later led to the appearance of Sin Eaters. An account of how the faces of the races of the source are known by different names in the first. Yes, it seems you were treated to a most thorough introduction. I understand it was something of a chore, but 'twas necessary that you grasp these things before we proceed. As for the Crystal Tower's origin, you may have noted that details were sparse. The structure is, in fact, the self-same one you knew from the source, transported to the first in its entirety. It was my first attempt at breaching the boundaries between worlds, something of a trial run for your eventual crossing. And although I do not know which era I tore it from, I do know that its arrival served to set the wheels of fate in motion. I think we better get that. Yeah, we do. Travelers of Norvrant. You've done as I requested and learned something of the world in which you find yourself. Now it is time I fulfilled my half of the bargain and explained what has befallen your comrades. That is a conversation I'd rather have in the privacy of my quarters. However, I must go on ahead to the tower and organize a few things, but I shall see to it that the guard admits you. The tower's gates lie open then? Just like that? Then Grahatia is I'm not familiar with that name. Is there something I should know? An extraordinary tale, but I'm afraid I found no such individual residing in the tower when it passed into my care. Mayhap we can revisit that mystery another time. For now, I think it's best that we focus on the present. If you guys recall, Grahatia was the keeper of the tower at the end of the Crystal Tower quest line in Elrond Reborn. And apparently Graha is not here. So perhaps he pulled it from an era when Graha had disappeared already. Greetings, madame. The XIV awaits you within. Alright, so they don't make you run through all of the tower, which is a little sad in some ways, but, you know. Hello, Vector. We're meeting with the Crystal Exarch, the strange man who drew us from the source to the first.
Welcome to the Ocular, my private study. We can speak here without fear of being overheard. I have much to explain, but the truths which I must touch upon in doing so would cause only distress and confusion to the people of this world. Pray keep that in mind. Now, I am sure you are desperate to know the fate of your fellow scions. To put it simply, they are here in the first. Their arrival, however, was not as recent as you may imagine. Here, time flows at a different pace from that of the source. In the space of a single hour in your home world, an entire year might pass in the first, and the reverse could also be true. The pace fluctuates without rhyme or reason, and it cannot be predicted. That said, we seem to be entering a period of near equivalence. And thus, for the moment, you need not overly concern yourself with the passage of time. As for your companions, however, Yustola and Urianger have dwelled here for 3 winters, all told, while Thancred's count stands at 5. Even our more recent arrivals, Alphino and Alize, have lived in the first for almost a year. My intention had been to summon only you, but the art of reaching across worlds has proven exceedingly difficult to master. Thus it was that my fumbling hand closed upon those to whom your fate is most closely bound as well. As they were not the object of my summons, their transference was incomplete. Though they may appear to possess corporeal bodies, they are, in truth, merely spirits that one can see and touch. Consequently, while you yourself will be able to pass between worlds with relative freedom, they will not. Much as it grieves me, they are stranded here, unable to return.
Then find a way to send them back. What have they been doing all this time?
We spent every waking hour searching for a way to reverse the summoning. In the beginning, at least. As you may have surmised, however, our efforts met with little success. And then we all but abandoned the endeavor once Urianger shared with us the vision he had witnessed during his journey through the rift. In that chaotic no-man's land between realms, time and space warp and blend in unexpected ways. What Urianger saw was the future, that which would one day come to pass. In his vision of tomorrow, the first was rejoined with the source. This collision of worlds brought about the 8th umbral calamity and the deaths of countless multitudes. Amongst those who perished, Urianger clearly saw the fall of the Scion's mightiest champion. He watched you die. And thus did the Scions embrace their exile, and began searching this world for a means to forestall the coming catastrophe in yours. Their souls are stranded in the first, yes, but they have fought on, desperate to save their home and you from destruction. Nor have their efforts been in vain, for it was they who finally established that the elimination of the Sin Eaters will indeed serve to prevent the calamity. Considering these circumstances of our meeting, you would be forgiven for doubting my version of events. And so, before all else, I would suggest you track down your comrades and hear the tale from their lips. I shall of course be happy to assist in these reunions, and you need not make any decisions regarding your involvement until you are certain of where you stand. Meanwhile, I promise I will not rest until I have found a way to help your friends return home. What say you? Have I earned your trust for the moment, at least?
Aye, but I'll see that you keep that promise.
Excellent. You will not regret this. With that settled, we shall have to see about getting you ready for the road. Traveling across the rift has no doubt left you weary. I will arrange for a room where you might rest in comfort. While it's being prepared, perhaps I can show you around.
Alright, here we go. Vector's in chat now. Vector's going to be playing some more FF Tactics while he hangs out with us. Which is great. FF Tactics rocks. The Crystarium boasts a number of residential districts, but I have been informed that a room has just become available at the Pendants. Which, as it turns out, is perfect. Our paths will take us past the markets, and I was hoping to give you my own introductions to their wares. Come along. I want to go to the market too. Fuck off, computer.
This is the Musica Universalis, the commercial heart of the Crystarium. Aught you might need to prepare for your journeys can be purchased here. Ah, yes. You must be curious about the currency. Fear not. The gil you carry will serve you well enough. Each nation once minted its own coins, but 'twas all a jumbled mess following the flood. After much debate, the local merchants eventually elected to revert to the old ways, wherein a coin's value was decided by the worth of its metal. As for a unit of measurement, we agreed upon the term gil, a word borrowed from coins uncovered within the Crystal Tower here. And as our traders peddled their wares across the land, so too did our usage of gil become common practice. From what your stola tells me, a standard coin from the source equates to exactly 1 gil here, or near enough not to matter. Our way of life has benefited greatly from the artifacts we recovered from the tower, some of which may be familiar to you. but I fear it would not be practical for us to provide everything to which you are accustomed. You shall need a means to access the commodities of your homeworld. A Van Kerm Sin?
Yes, I'm here. Of course I'm here. What amusements do you have for me today?
My dear Feo Ul, paragon of pixie kind. For you, I have the most vital task. This fine lady is a friend from a distant realm. And we have need of a means to ferry things back and forth from her home. Might you be able to assist us in this matter?
You came from beyond, didn't you? From beyond the rift? How wonderfully exciting! What a brave and reckless and marvelous thing you did! You've the heart of a pixie, you do. After careful consideration, I have decided to grant you my assistance. Make a pact with me and the fun can begin. But answer me this, traveler. Did your garments come with you when you crossed over? Your teeth? Your nails? Just as I thought! Then you've a good stout connection with your home through which all your belongings, great and small, may easily pass. From this moment forth I will be your Isne Fis, and you my Sne Yak. Like the branch which sprouts from the sapling, our bond will flow unbroken from one to the other. Raise your hand. Tis done. We are bound now, dearest sapling. Come then. Make your request. Tell me your desire. I wish to visit this world of yours.
Mayhap her message to your friends in the Source to inform them of your safe arrival.
Send a message to Tataru.
Consider it done.
As you heard, that was Feo Ul of the Pixies. Their kind possess an affinity for magic akin to that of arcane beings. They rarely show themselves in populated areas, but Feo is insatiably curious even by pixie standards, and seems to have taken a liking to the Crystarium. Right, we were going to organize a room for you, weren't we? Come along.
As a result of your pact with Feo Ul, you now have access to delivery Moogles, market boards, and summoning bells while in the First. So, Feo Ul is our fairy friend, and Feo Ul is how you get back and forth to the First. Well, not how you get back and forth, but how you take things back and forth from the First. They're pretty cool. Ah, there you are. I was just finalizing the matter of your accommodation. You'll have a private room here at the Pendants for the duration of your stay, to make use of it as you see fit. When you are ready to retire, the manager will show you to your lodgings. Pray, rest and recuperate, and we shall reconvene it in the ocular anon. I believe that covers all the practical concerns. Thank you for answering my call, Miro. We are denied the comforting blanket of night, but may peaceful dreams attend you nonetheless. A pleasure to meet you, miss, and welcome to your new home at the Pendants. Your room is ready if you care to retire. Alright, let's do it. go take a look at our room. You get a chance to look at the world.
You. I know you. You're the warrior of light from the source.
The warrior of darkness?
What? Did you just... You can hear me? Oh, gods, how long has it been? That was what I called myself in your world. The warrior of darkness. My real name is Ardbert. I used an alias in the source, a daft one, looking back. If you recall my tale, it was my comrades and I who caused the flood. We thought our home doomed. And so we listened to the Ascians. Let them guide us to the source and try to hasten their goddamned ardor. I remember when we fell, defeated by you and yours. I remember our audience with Minfilia, how she listened to our pleas and returned our souls to the first. The flood was poised to swallow Norvrant. Minfilia and my friends, they surrendered what little they had left to hold it back. Just faded away, leaving me to bear witness. Tell me, do you know the year? How much time has passed since we caused the flood? 100 years. 100 long years. My hands find no purchase. My gestures catch no eye, and my pleas, be they whispered or screamed, reach not a single ear. I am a shade, cursed to do naught but drift. I feel as if I've been walking forever. I hardly noticed when my mind and body began to fray at the edges. Then bang! My senses were sharp again. I felt like a fish being reeled in, and before I knew it, I found myself in this room. Why is it that you can see me? What are you even doing here, come to that? You were summoned to save the first. A waste of time. This world is beyond saving, like those who try to save it. Muddled as my mind may be, I've not forgotten that. But if fate has brought me to you, the one person in this God's forsaken world who can see and hear me, then perhaps there is a reason I endured. If I can find out why I was left behind, then maybe I can bring this journey of mine to an end. Well, I'll be watching, Warrior of Light. But do me a favor. Be careful out there. This world has had its fill of heroes.
Alright, ladies and gents, it's time for our first break, but that gives you a crash course into what has happened to this world and those that caused it and how they feel about it. It's great. Be right back.